Welcome back to Briggs on Books, a truly international talk show. We talk to authors all over the world. Last week we had France, Paris. We had somebody from Brigham in England. I'm probably saying it wrong. Oh, yeah, and the other one we had last week, I can never say this, Edinburgh. However you say them, I'm always saying them wrong, and they let me know. They're very nice about it. Today's guest is coming all the way from I believe somewhere near Nashville, Tennessee, and our guest is Susan J. Godwin. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you very much.
Now, you have some connection to England. You like England. I know you were an Oxford scholar. Does that mean you went and studied in England?
Study there, and I had a very strange experience when I was pregnant. I was watching an Attenborough documentary on treasure houses of Britain. It was wonderful. And the camera panned around and down a staircase, and I started sobbing uncontrollably, feeling that I had lived a past life there. And I'm not woo-woo, but I just had this strong, it was overpowering.
Crazy. And I didn't mean to
Yeah.
say crazy like you're crazy, just crazy that
No.
we get those feelings, don't we?
Yeah, it was very strong. It was,
Now, you have a book out. I'm putting the cover up right now, Rain Dodging. Tell us a little bit about that.
well, I think of it as a triple helix of royal history, specifically the Stuart monarchy, travel throughout Britain, and memoir.
And memoir also.
Yes, irreverent memoir.
Irreverent. Okay, I like that. Now, I got to go all the way back because, as I was saying before, I don't read all these bios that the artists put out, but yours is so fascinating. I printed it and brought it out here with me. So, your first job was a book mender in the Shaker Heights High School basement.
Yes, yes. Whenever I hear the song Build Me Up Buttercup, do you remember that
Yeah, I
song?
do.
I remember erasing pages and pages.
Because kids will draw in books.
Mhm.
And so you've been in love with books your whole life. You became an English teacher and Oxford scholar. And what else? Tell us something else about you.
Oh, wow.
Put
Well,
you on the
uh,
spot.
when I moved to Nashville, my daughter was 3. I moved here to help my fashion designer husband open a boutique. And that was every day different, I will tell you that.
Wow. Tell us about who Rhodey is.
Rhodey is our Roddy, our Rottweiler, and he's our road dog. We don't leave the country, Mike. We just can't leave him behind. So wherever we go is within the continental United States.
And he goes with you.
He goes with us. When my mother died, she had a Mustang convertible,
Mm,
which is mine now,
nice.
and he gets in the back and rides shotgun.
But before you got Rhodey, the Rottweiler, you did get to travel. You went to England.
Yes. Um, it was part of the school. I was at grad school at the Breadloaf School of English, which is the summer home of Middlebury College's English department.
Mm.
And that's where I fell in love with this particular queen and court and their writing.
Yeah. Now tell us, who were the Stuarts?
Stuarts. So they began with James the First, and most people know best Charles the Second, the Merry Monarch. Does that ring a bell at
Oh, yeah.
all?
Yeah. Now, did they start in Scotland? Is that one of them, James the First?
James did. Yeah, James the First did.
So,
Right.
and so he came from Scotland, anyway. So I like to study periods like this. So this sounds like it's going to be a fun study of the Stuarts, as
Yeah.
well as a little study of Susan J. Godwin, the author.
And a little feminist spice thrown in.
Now, so is there a genre? Does your book exist in a single genre?
That is a really good question. I like to think of it as creative nonfiction.
Creative
Uh,
nonfiction. So what's
yeah,
in there is like history and stories of you, and that's nonfiction. And it's a little
right.
creativity strung through there. Now, do you do art as well?
You, I love to paint oils, especially, but I also dabble in pastels and pencil. It's amazing what you can do with a bunch of pencils.
Now, I was going to ask you who would read this book, but first of all, I want to say I'm going to read it because I love things like this that are about people, and I love history and studying monarchs and different periods like that. So I think it's going to hit a lot of bases for me. But who is there a specific audience?
Well, yeah, for me, predominantly women. I wrote for women and women who love to travel and adore all things Britain. They dig a good female survivor story, especially one told with humor, which I like to think that I do. Lifelong learners. And I do have to mention adjusting to the Invisibility Club.
And what is the Invisibility Club?
Reach a certain age where you become invisible.
More,
And
more for women than men?
yeah, I think so. And it's hard.
Yeah.
It's an adjustment.
Yeah. I can picture exactly what you're talking about. So being similar ages. I think we're kind of similar age. We're young, Susan.
Right. I'll be 70 in the end of October.
Right.
And I'll never forget walking in New York City with my daughter and all of a sudden I realized they were looking at her and not me. So it was kind of a rude awakening. That sounds terribly shallow, doesn't it?
Well, it sounds like a good book also for some younger people. It could wake them up a little as to how they treat people and acknowledge people, and or do you let people come invisible and just walk right past them without an acknowledgement? So it'd be interesting. Now, I put your website on the screen, susanjgodwin.com. Great web address, by the way. I've already memorized it. susanjgodwin.com. What would our viewers find there?
I blog, Mike, every Tuesday and Friday without fail, and I think they're pretty good. I mean, they really run the gamut. So that is the main attraction, in my opinion.
Yeah, I tell you, I read a lot of books, and I hate to let an author go. I hate to put it down. It'd be great for some of the authors I read if they had something like that. I could go to their website and read a blog and kind of keep up with them as they progress. Now, can people ask you questions there? Is there a way to contact you?
Much, but as the writing process progresses, you do less and less writing.
Yeah.
All the PR and so forth. And so the blogs are a way for me to write, which, I love to write.
Right. Well, if somebody says, I'm a baseball player, you know what they do all the time. They're playing baseball all the time. If somebody says, I'm a writer, yeah, you should be writing all the time. And the more you write, of course, the better and better you get at it. And I had never thought about that. You're writing all the time.
And I taught English. And I really tried to instill the love of writing in my students. I reached a few.
Were you teaching in high school or college?
I was teaching middle school when I was teaching.
What a great age to get people, a great age to catch these people and plant a little seed in their mind that hopefully grows over time. So
that's the truth. That's really the truth. And I do remember students that have been published that are writing music,
nice.
as well as just regular books.
Sometimes people say, Mike, let your guests talk more. I put the cover of your book up. What else do you want our viewers to know?
Well, about the book, I think I almost wish I had titled it Triple Helix, because it really is an interweave of those three genres that I mentioned. So, if you like travel memoir, I think you really like this book.
Well, I would tell you, just hearing you talk about the double helix, it makes the book more intriguing for me, and that's the reason I'm going to read it. It's because of the things you said about it today. So
Appreciate that. Thank you.
We're way out of time. I could talk to you forever, Susan, because you're fascinating. Last thoughts for our viewers? Oh, I guess where can they get the book? And
Hi. Well, I love to support bookshop.org.
okay,
It's also available at Amazon and Barnes and Noble. But bookshop.org is close to my heart.
well, I'm glad you said that because that one, the big one, is so easy. You just press the button and it shows up the next day, no shipping charge. But bookshop.org. Now, will your website point people to where to order the book?
Yeah, I would too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Just start with Susan J. Godwin.com. You guys will find out a lot there. Thank you, Susan. I really appreciate you taking the time to be on the show.
Thank you, Mike.
And,
I'm so glad I did.
and again, you're a fascinating person. I'm glad I got to talk to you. And we'll be back with more authors. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.